road to success is brought to you by Equity Bank.
Equity Bank. You are listening, caring partner.
An old African proverb says that it's only what you haven't begun that seems difficult. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. My guest today is Mr. Richard Dubai. He's the Chief Executive of Ricardo International. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ricardo, where did the name come from?
Ricardo actually is Richard in Spanish.
Oh, so it's your name.
Yes, a lot of people used to call me Ricardo in school. So I just picked up on that, and I wanted something that was easy. In the business I was in, you'd be able to remember it. Something that I could identify with.
How long ago was that? Tell me about Ricardo International.
Ricardo is only in this business line of business we've been in is for 5 years, but in the EPZ, which is the export processing zone, for the last 2 years.
What does this business do, and where did the dream come from?
Well, basically, we manufacture women's clothing, and 90% of our product is exported to America. 10% we do parastatals, local government business, basically government business, but things like military wear, city council, that sort of thing.
What's your background?
My background, I'm a hotelier by profession.
Then you got into manufacturing.
How I got into business was I was doing outside catering for a multinational company that was manufacturing. I became friends with the general manager. At that point, this company was supposed to open a smaller unit, which was called an MUB. An MUB is manufacturing under bond. So when they sat down, the CEO and the MDs didn't find it viable. So the general manager called me up and said, listen, there's an opportunity for you if you'd like to open a smaller unit, and we'll spoon feed you for the next 6 months. I took up the opportunity. I said, okay, fine, take up the opportunity. We took up a factory that was outside the EPZ, and we started with about 100 machines, and give or take 150, 200 workers. So this company was spoon feeding me, and after 6 months, they had problems. So they couldn't take me on anymore. I had to look for other orders, and I got in contact with a company that was actually another company that's in the EPZ, but it was run by a Taiwanese firm. I joined them. I ran with them for about 2 years, 2.5 years. And then he told me, listen, they're happy with me working as the only local investor, because I'm the only local person in manufacturing. And he said, move into the EPZ and do something bigger. So on a handshake, I moved into the EPZ, and the EPZ was fantastic. They really helped me along, because at that time I was the only local investor. So I came into the EPZ with my own unit. I started with 200 machines, which has grown now to about 500.
And 200 machines means how many people?
200 machines, you talk about 400. We're now at 800, approaching 1,000 workers.
So hotelier turned manufacturer. Tell me about that process in terms of, did you put that on hold, or is that still going on?
No.
And then did you?
I think the hotel part of it was a family business, which now my brother has taken on and seems to love. And I just ventured out into manufacturing. And when I started out, I started out with I wanted to learn the business, run it, and then see. But as I've got into the business, I wouldn't do anything else. I love manufacturing. And the company's grown. When we first started, we were taking orders from other companies, and we were actually stitching their product, which we are still doing now. But the only thing is that we've moved a stage higher, where now we're dealing with also the client himself.
Tell me about the clients, because you talked about 90% of your goods being for the international market, and then 10% for the local market. How do you find your clients?
Well, sometimes we get referred to by other factories. Sometimes the clients find out through our website. And generally, what we've done is most factories specialize in either two areas, either knit or woven. A woven item would be a pair of jeans, any denim pair of jeans, that's a woven item. A knit item would be a loose top. So companies used to specialize in that. Now when we started, we specialized only in knit items. Now, as the business grew, I needed funding. But what makes Ricardo special is we're able to manufacture the two items and our turnaround times are quick, which means that from input, which is feeding, to output, we specialize in that area. We're quick and we're doing a lot of items that other companies are not able to do at the costs that we can.
When you talk about turnaround, because I'm imagining if your clients are really overseas, then the goods have to get to them. So do you also, how do the goods get to them? Do you fly them there? Do you ship
Everything is shipped. Now, I'll give you an example. We're dealing with one of our clients who has a product. They brought it into the market, but they weren't able to manufacture it because one, the costs were too high, and two, it needed to be specialized. So we've tied up with this client and we're producing for them. We're producing things like workwear items, for instance. We're moving away from the fashion industry is always changing and there are always new items coming out. Now, looking at that market, Ricardo was either to decide as a company to decide, can we cope with that and are we able to do this time in and time out, or look for orders that are specialized that we can concentrate on and move forward. And I think for us that has come into workwear.
When you travel abroad, especially in maybe the American market, everything they say is pretty much made in Asia or China. It's just the label ends up being for the designer that is American. In terms of competition, you're going for the same market, them picking you as opposed to going to China.
This is where EPZ and AGOA comes in, the African Growth Opportunities Act, whereas they're saying that whatever comes from Africa, there's no quota. Whatever comes from China, there is. China is going to be a lot cheaper than us. One, because you can buy the fabric, let's assume, in Parklands, and your factory's in Westlands, so you pick up the phone, you call your friend in Parklands, he'll deliver the fabric to you when you're in Westlands. For us, a lot of the fabric we're buying is coming from China. And that takes time, It takes 14 days, even longer, for the fabric to arrive, get cleared, then we stitch. So, for us, why do we make it viable for our client? One is the quality. Two is the preferential treatment that he'll get if his goods are shipped from Kenya. Three, I think they don't have that issue of the type of workers we have in terms of we're not employing kids, there's no child labor. We are paying a fair wage and this counts.
Your local market, is that something that you want to grow?
Yes, we're looking at opportunities. I mean, there's COMESA, but it has to be right. But again, the question is cost. And as you've seen right now, the fuel prices have gone up, electricity costs, and manufacturing backbone is electricity.
But you are in the business of making everything Kenyan, and I like that. We need to take a short break. When we return, we'll hear more about Ricardo. Don't go away.
There's a window of opportunity and we'd like Kenyans to really come and take advantage of this and join the export community and build the country so that we can set up a manufacturing base. When you set up a strong manufacturing base, it grows the economy.
Welcome back. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. My guest today is Mr. Richard Dubai. He's the CEO of Ricardo International. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Before we went to the break, you were sharing with us what Ricardo International does and really manufacturing women's wear. Why did you begin with women and not men?
The women have a bigger appetite for clothing. Nowadays, I wear a lot of branded goods, but it doesn't mean as much, especially when you come from where I manufacture. We manufacture between 5 to 7,000 pieces a day. And you look at the products that we keep churning out, jeans, for example. Kenya combined sends an average of more than 40 million pairs of jeans, and the orders keep growing.
How do you find your staff? You mentioned starting off small, but small really 200 workers, and then now you're growing almost to 1,000. Where do you find the people to work for you, and then how do you train them?
We're a small company, we're local, we're Kenyan. I take the opportunity to, as a CEO, to have an open door policy where I talk to my workers. It doesn't matter whether you're a cleaner or a machine operator or supervisor. We have an open door policy. And generally when I have meetings with them, you keep driving the point that we're the only Kenyan company. We're the only Kenyan company. And it is difficult, especially when I'm dealing with companies in the zone that are handling turnovers of close to $1 million a month. Being able to compete with them is tough. It's not easy. So you try and focus on the fact that you are Kenyan. You want to brand as a company that is trying to make a difference. We're also youthful, and I hope I'm still under the youth bracket of under 35.
Under 35, and for me, you say you're small, but I think 1,000 workers is not small.
I'm looking at the people I do business with. A lot of the people I do business with are above, 45. And being able to do business with these people, even my bankers, to be with the bankers I have, it's taken me time to build a reputation with them.
Being youthful is an asset as well as a challenge.
Yes.
What are the challenges?
The youth of today are not looking for, the days of being in the farming business and all over, all of us are looking for white collar or blue collar jobs. And a lot of the question comes down, when it comes down to it, it's funding. And a lot of the youth today have very good ideas, but no backbone. A lot of us who are employing large amounts of people in the sector, you look at the payroll, and that means you go to the Labor Day, they give these increments, and they say they've only increased 10%, they've only increased 12%. That 10% affects my payroll by an average of $10,000 a month. It means something. And if you're talking about other youth members or youthful people who want to start something, you've got to take this into consideration.
What would you say are some of the lessons that you've learned? Things that you'd never do again because you just learned that lesson, or things that you've learned work for you?
I wouldn't do anything else. I love what I do. Yeah, and manufacturing is like the kick for me. But it's a lot of hard work. As a CEO, I think what has been successful for me is I didn't get into, and I think anybody who gets into business, you don't have to have had a degree from business school to get into business. Yeah, and education is important, and I encourage everybody to have a good education. But you have to have an acumen and determination in whatever business you get into. And when you get to the point where most people say, now I'm a CEO and I'm MD of a company, I'm too good, I can't meet with my employees, I can't do this. You have a hands-on policy. For me, I deal with what's going on, and I'm up to date with what's going on in the company. I might not deal with it every day, but I'm a hands-on. And the key to my industry is the people I work with. You have to relate to them.
What does it take to be in your industry?
Hard work, determination, grit, and you have to be willing to sacrifice. And you have to be focused.
What advice would you give young people?
I don't think there's any rules or tools, but determination. I think you have to be somebody who decides. It's like a journey. That happens for any entrepreneur. It doesn't matter whether you're making 100 shillings a month or 200 shillings a month or $1 million. It's the determination that counts.
5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do you see Ricardo International?
I'm scared to think about that. With the bankers I have and had, and equity being one of them, they've been really, really supportive and helped me grow. I can guarantee you all the manufacturing companies that are manufacturing in the EPZ have grown or are growing. And the workforces are increasing. So in the next 5 years, double my capacity, 3 times my capacity.
Richard, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Definitely an inspiration.
Thank you for having me on the show. And I hope it inspires other people.
Have a great week. God bless.
road to success is brought to you by Equity Bank.
Equity Bank. You are listening, caring partner.